We are learning Mishna Sotah, Perek Gimel, Chapter 3, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. All right, so the first Mishnah had mentioned that just a quick review, because it's kind of a flow, that the husband brought the meal offering for his wife, who was a Sotah, in a basket. He then gave it to her. He took the mincha from her and put it into a service vessel, which sanctified it. Then he gave it back to her, and the Kohen placed his hands under her hands, and they waved it. So again, the Mishnah Beis starts, Hanif, he waved, like we said, back, forth, up, down. Vihigish. And then after he waves the mincha, he then takes the vessel from her and brings it, Vihigish means, and he brings it. He brings it to the altar. That's Hagash, that's what Higish means. Hagasha means one of the parts of offering a meal offering is the fact that you do Hagasha, you bring it to the altar. Now, not only you bring it to the altar, the Mishnah mentioned this, but not only do you bring it to the altar, but the Kohen touches the vessel against the southwestern corner of the altar. He touches it. He takes the vessel and he touches it to that corner. And as I bring down here, this and the following rituals are done with most mincha offerings, what we're about to say right now. So you've got, waving is not necessarily a typical part of the ritual for bringing a meal offering, but Hagasha, bringing it to the altar and touching it at the southwestern corner is as I say, it's it's most offerings. This is done by most offerings. And the next thing the Mishnah mentions is v'kamatz. Kamatz means he removes a kometz. Now, what does that mean? Now, what that means is that some of the flour is going to be removed from, meaning your meal offering is made of flour, and then there's a certain all that flour is put into the altar. It's consecrated. It's brought to the mizbeach, and at that point, the Kohen removes a kometz. What that means is like this. Removing the kometz is a difficult procedure that is done as follows. The Kohen folds his 3 middle fingers over his palm. Okay, he folds his 3 fingers over his palm, forming a scoop, and then puts his hand into the mincha, and he puts it into the flour, which sometimes is mixed with oil. In this case, most of the time it's mixed with oil. This time by Sotah, it's not. Scooping up some of it in the space between his fingers and palm. So he's put his hand in, and he now, by putting it in, it sounds like it's already in a scoop form. He now sticks it in, and by doing that, he is scooping up some of it in the space between his fingers and his palm. Okay. He then uses his thumb and little finger, to remove the spaces that stick out of the sides. There's going to be a certain amount that's sticking out from the side. So he has to smooth it out. One side with his pinky and one side with his thumb. Okay. The portion remaining in his hand is the kometz, and the process is called kamitza. Okay, after you do that, what do you do next? Says the Mishnah, v'hiktir. You then you then burn it on the altar. Meaning that amount that you have in between your finger, you now basically put it onto the fire on the altar, on the mizbeach. Now what happens to the rest of the flour? What happens to the rest of the mincha? V'asha'ar nechel kohanim, and the rest is eaten by the kohanim. So this is, as they say here, these are the standard things that are done by a mincha. Like they say, this and the following rituals are done with most mincha offerings. All right. Next. All right. Now the question is, now the next question is like this. Hayamashka, he would then give her a drink. Meaning, at this point, it seems, right now, the Mishnah is going to say, we are at the point of giving her to drink that water. You prepared the water. You put in the dirt from the floor of the Beis Hamikdash. You've already erased what was written on the parchment that has to be erased into the water. And now says the Mishnah, Hayamashka, he would give her to drink, V'achakach makriv es minchasa. And then after that, he would offer her meal offering. So right now the Mishnah tells us, we're at the point, we just discussed offering the mincha. Okay, now what's the order? We have giving her to drink the water. We have the offering of the mincha. Which goes first? Says the Mishnah, Hayamashki would give her to drink. And after that, he would offer her meal offering, which would mean that he would give her to drink. There would be nothing happening from the water that she drank as of yet. And then he's going to offer the mincha. And then whatever happens may happen. Rabbi Shimon says, Makrav es minchasa. First you offer the mincha, and then after offering the mincha, that's when he would give her to drink. Shenema, as the pasuk says, va'achar yashka seisha samoyim, and afterwards he, meaning the Kohen, will give the woman to drink the water. Now, this sound, the way the Mishnah lays things out, Rabbi Shimon has a pasuk. The Torah seems to say, and after, which means after offering the meal offering, yashkesa isha samoyim, that's when you give it a drink. Now, the Bartanura goes through this at length, but there are a number of psukim in the section of the Torah that deals with the Sotah that seem to give different indications on which one's first. Is the drinking first? Is offering the mincha first? So Rabbi Shimon focuses on the pasuk that says, and afterwards he gives her to drink the water, which means according to him, the pasuk, the verse that is really telling us what the order of things are, is that first he's going to offer the mincha, then he's going to give her the water to drink. Now the thing is, though, there were other verses that imply the other direction, the other way around. What does he do with that? That is what he concludes with. Now let's say he did it in a different order. He didn't do the proper order. He actually gave it a drink first, and then he offered the mincha. The answer is kshera. Everything is still kosher. Everything still works. In according to Reb Shimon, the psukim that talk about, that imply, or that seem to say, that he gives it a drink before he offers the mincha, is letting you know that even though the proper order is to first offer the mincha and then give it a drink, if you change the order, things still work. That's Reb Shimon. But the Tanna Kama, the first opinion, said otherwise. Tanna Kama said he gives it a drink, and then afterwards he offers the meal offering. That's because he works with the verses that say that first goes drinking, then goes offering the mincha. And then when it comes to this pasuk about and afterwards he gives it a drink, they use it for some other. He says that pasuk is coming to teach us not the order, but something else. We won't get into that right now. So what happens here is we have a question about how to interpret the verses as to what their order is. Tanna Kama says, the first opinion says you give it a drink and then you offer the mincha. Rabbi Shimon says you offer the mincha and then you give it a drink. And the Bartanura says, Ein halacha k'Reb Shimon. The halacha does not follow Reb Shimon's opinion, which means that what we follow is the first opinion. The first he gives it a drink, and then he offers the mincha, the meal offering. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Rabbi.